March 15, 1995, the phone rings in São Paulo. Nelson Sakaguchi picks up on the third ring, adjusting his reading glasses. This is Paul Ogwuma, governor of Nigeria's central bank. The voice sounds authoritative, professional, educated. I have a business proposition for you, something that could transform both our institutions. Sakaguchi runs Brazil's Banco Noroeste, a mid-sized regional bank hungry for international expansion. He's been reading about Nigerian oil revenues in the Financial Times all morning. The timing seems perfect. He's about to authorize the biggest bank transfer in banking history, $242 million for an airport that doesn't exist. This isn't just another Nigerian Prince email asking for thousands. This isn't some amateur with broken English promising inheritance gold. This is different. This is sophisticated. This is the mother of all scams. Meet Emmanuel Nwude, former Union Bank of Nigeria director. 43 years old, chain smoker who burns through 2 packs of Marlboro Reds daily. Expensive taste reflected in his Italian leather shoes and Swiss watches. Drives a black Mercedes S-Class through Lagos traffic like he owns every street, every intersection, every traffic light in the sprawling city. But there's something else about Nwude that sets him apart from every other scammer in West Africa. He's not some internet cafe hustler sending desperate emails to random addresses. He's a professional, a former legitimate banker who once moved millions of dollars legally across international borders, who speaks perfect Portuguese with a São Paulo accent. He makes that Nigerian prince who clutters your spam folder look like a street corner amateur. Lagos, 1995. The oil boom is creating new millionaires monthly. Brazilian banks are expanding aggressively into emerging markets, hunting for high-yield investments in developing economies that promise double-digit returns. Banco Noroeste, based in São Paulo's financial district, wants desperately to establish a foothold in African markets. Nwude reads about this expansion in an aviation trade magazine. The article mentions one name specifically, Nelson Sakaguchi, Director of International Operations, authorized to approve deals up to $300 million without full board approval. Perfect target identified. Nelson Sakaguchi, 62 years old, family man with 3 grown children and 2 grandchildren, plays golf at the exclusive Club de Campo every weekend, reads 3 newspapers religiously every morning with his black coffee. Spotless professional reputation built on conservative, profitable international investments. Until one Tuesday afternoon in March, his secure office phone rings. Nwude doesn't start with email like some desperate amateur working from an internet cafe. Too crude, too obvious, too easy to ignore or delete. He calls Sakaguchi directly on his private office line, a number that took 3 weeks and $2,000 in bribes to obtain from a contact at the Brazilian Telecommunications Ministry. Claims to be Paul Ogwuma, not just any government official, but the actual real governor of Nigeria's central bank. A man whose photograph Nwude has studied for hours, whose speech patterns he's analyzed from recorded interviews, whose educational background at Cambridge University he's memorized completely. We're building a new international airport in Abuja, he explains in flawless Portuguese, a massive infrastructure project that will transform West African aviation. We need serious international partners, not speculators or opportunists. The hook isn't just simple, it's brilliant in its sophistication. Nigeria's federal government needs exactly $242 million to fund the final phase of construction. In exchange for this strategic investment, Banco Noroeste will receive exclusive operational rights to the airport's most profitable sectors: cargo handling, fuel services, ground transportation, duty-free retail, generating an estimated $2 billion in revenue over the first decade of operation. Massive returns guaranteed by the full faith and credit of the Nigerian government. Sakaguchi is cautious, as any experienced international banker should be when presented with extraordinary opportunities. He asks intelligent questions about regulatory approval, environmental impact assessments, currency exchange, risk mitigation. Nwude adapts flawlessly to every concern. Forged central bank letterheads arrive by express international courier within 72 hours. Not photocopies or amateur forgeries, but documents printed on authentic government watermarked paper, official permits bearing the signatures of real ministry officials. He's turned his legitimate experience into the foundation of illegitimate fortune. Here's what Nwude understood that other scammers don't. Greed is progressive. Commitment is psychological, and once a victim makes the first payment, admitting mistake becomes career suicide. March 22, 1995. First transfer authorized $10 million, smooth as silk. Too smooth for anyone's comfort. But here's Nwude's psychological masterstroke, the insight that would generate $250 million returns. Once Nelson Sakaguchi authorizes that first payment, he's psychologically invested beyond the money itself. His professional reputation now depends entirely on this deal succeeding. Another call arrives 3 weeks later. Another urgent demand, accompanied by official documentation. Sakaguchi pays without hesitation. Construction equipment suppliers require advance deposits to guarantee delivery schedules, comes the next request, supported by invoices from legitimate Nigerian construction companies that Nwude has bribed to provide authentic documentation. Sakaguchi pays again. Each request comes with increasingly sophisticated documentation, progress reports featuring construction photographs that show actual earth-moving equipment and foundation work, government correspondence on pristine letterheads discussing timeline adjustment, budget modifications, regulatory compliance issues, all fabricated by a man chain-smoking Marlboro Reds while creating an institutional-grade fraud from his Lagos mansion. June 1995, 15 million more. December 1995, 30 million. March 1996, 47 million. September 1997, 85 million. January 1998, 55 million more. For 3 years, papers moved across Nelson Sakaguchi's mahogany desk in increasing volume and sophistication, as the airport project became the centerpiece of his professional legacy. His golf partners at Club de Campo were genuinely impressed with his African deal-making prowess. His family grew proud of his growing reputation as an international finance expert. His superiors at Banco Noroeste praised his strategic vision in establishing the bank's first major African infrastructure partnership. His reputation was being built on the most sophisticated financial fraud in history. By the fifth major transfer, even Nelson Sakaguchi experienced moments of hesitation. The amounts were becoming enormous, even by Banco Noroeste standards. But he couldn't stop now. Stopping meant admitting 3 years of mistakes. Stopping meant professional suicide. The psychological trap was perfect. Total extracted over 36 months, $242 million. From an experienced banker who never set foot on African soil. The genius wasn't high-tech deception or sophisticated hacking. It was understanding bureaucracy, psychology, and institutional inertia. Emmanuel Nwude fed Nelson Sakaguchi exactly what an experienced international banker expects to receive. But Emmanuel Nwude wasn't finished with his masterpiece. The biggest test was still coming. December 1997, the same boardroom where it all started. Banco Santander executives lean forward, examining Banco Noroeste's books. Nearly half the bank's capital, $242 million, sits in mysterious offshore accounts. What is this for? They demand. Sakaguchi confidently explains the Nigerian airport deal, shows them contracts, permits, construction reports. The Spaniards aren't satisfied. One phone call to Nigerian aviation authorities. Where is this new airport in Abuja? There is no airport project, no permits issued, no construction. The investigators arrive at the GPS coordinates. They see empty land, scattered trees, nothing. No construction, no permits, no workers. The call that ended everything. Nelson Sakaguchi stares at his phone. He's been talking to a ghost for 3 years. The revelation sends shockwaves through international banking. Operation Fake Airport begins. Interpol warrants issued. Financial intelligence across 3 continents tracking the money. But Nwude had prepared. The $242 million was scattered globally. Swiss banks, Cayman Islands, shell companies, real estate, a financial maze designed to take years to unravel. April 1998. Nigerian police surround Nwude's Lagos mansion. Luxury cars in the driveway, gold fixtures, marble floors, the Mercedes that carried him to fake meetings, all purchased with stolen money. But most of the cash had vanished into the global financial system. Lagos High Court. Emmanuel Nwude stands trial. The evidence overwhelming. Final damage, $242 million stolen. Only $58 million recovered. Banco Noroeste collapsed. Sakaguchi's career destroyed. Banking protocols worldwide overhauled. Nwude receives 25 years. Serves only 5. Released in 2006. Claims innocence. One accomplice assassinated before trial, possibly to prevent testimony. Nwude's cellmate asks how he did it. "I gave them what they wanted," he says, lighting another cigarette. Hope. Today, Emmanuel Nwude walks free in Lagos, still smoking, still smiling. The master who fooled the world. But he wasn't finished. He was just the beginning.